Get some guts and join the right side.
Acting in secret and without proper accountability, and because they always get things wrong, we can reliably expect that there are going to be more scandals come out on this.
A minute or so away from flying almost directly over Hurricane Dean that is churning just south of Hispaniola, packing winds of 150 miles an hour in a west-northwesterly direction at a speed of about 17 miles an hour. The latest ground track from the National Hurricane Center at 11 a.m. Eastern Time indicated that Dean was continuing in forward movement that would take it across the northern coast of the Yucatan Peninsula.
There are three scientific schools of thought on global warming and climate change. One group subscribes to a view that industrialisation and man-made greenhouse gas emissions are contributing to a warming of the atmosphere. Another group of scientists state global warming is merely a natural phenomenon that has occurred throughout the Earth's evolution. And the third group of scientists suggests the reality is a mix of fact and opinion emitting from both camps. But while the scientific community debates and argues hypotheses, the impact of global warming advances at an ever-escalating rate. Those whose daily lives revolve around the symptoms of global warming rather than the cause, the most vital question is how to preserve one's culture and to survive. And for those inhabiting some of the most remote and beautiful islands to be found on Earth, their want, their determination is to become a living, breathing example of climate change adaptation rather than become a case study of catastrophe. This is their story. Since you were a child to now, have you been able to witness changes to the climate?
Mai tota mai tiki tō matua nā. Kua ke ki te hiu inga ki te climate. Te climate kapela. Te tau. Kua ke ki te hiu. Una hoa. Aha.
Na nei uta heko na.
Nowadays the hurricane has been coming like close.
More frequently, yeah.
Frequently. From
1914 to 1966.
Yeah.
To 87.
Yeah.
To 91.
Yeah.
And 99.
Yeah.
Yeah,
99.
99. See, the cap is really...
Yeah. Have you noticed that there's erosion on the island, that the sea comes up and takes away the land?
Yeah.
Ke matea pe ko te whenua e tahorea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Has this happened more recently or a long time ago? The
Me te
erosion?
neina, te kamata ngā ui tahorea.
Ga mata mai ro in 1966.
Yeah.
First started then.
First started. Second 66.
Is it getting faster now, the erosion?
Te tahorea te whenua ko kamata te le wawe pe te le tua.
Taku pila
Eva. He thinks that it's pretty fast, the erosion.
Ka hei koe kira ki te mata hanga I
If you look at,
te tua tua.
we'll show you when we get there.
Le tua te tua te luhi ano. Hanu ve ia. Nai ngā taile. Ni kai nei ngā kere le tua.
We'll show you the place where on the other side of this building. Used to be right at the
Right.
here te mamau tau hua la.
I laku mo te pulu.
I think he thinks that it's about 10 feet now that it's eroded
Okay.
from those years till now. land. As you can see, you can really tell where the trees are. The erosion of the land.
I see. I can see where there used to be palm trees. Yeah, the old stuff.
Yeah.
That's where.
That's where the land used to be. And then from there to the point to this coral. The only options we can think of is put on seawalls. But the program stops because of the funding.
How much of the island has got seawall now?
Oh, it's probably only about a quarter. Not even a quarter. Less than a quarter.
Tokelau is located halfway between Hawaii and New Zealand and about 500 nautical miles south of the equator. It consists of 3 atolls. The largest is Nokononu at 4.7 square kilometres. The highest point above sea level is 3 to 5 metres. The total population of Tokelau is approximately 1,500 people.
From there to the coral. It's about this size. The waves from the ocean and the waves from the lagoon, they meet somewhere around, probably somewhere around here, on the edge of this. Because the strongest comes from the ocean and the weakness comes from when they meet and they bring all the rubbish and everything. After the cleaning of the classrooms, the school has to stop for about 2 weeks. We have to clean the classrooms, but luckily on this side, you can see the new construction, David Longy building. It was safe because they built a tank. It was constructed after the new system of construction.
Do you remember David Longy being here?
Oh yeah.
What was it like?
It's just the same as when Clark came, Helen Clark.
Yeah.
Everybody was preparing everything. You have to clean up everything.
He was a bigger man than Helen.
Yeah, he was a bigger man, but he's got a building named after him.
Yeah.
But Helen Clark, I don't think she's got a building named after her.
Maybe in New Zealand.
Oh, maybe in New Zealand, but not in Tokelau.
On Tuesday, April 10, 2007, Met Service in New Zealand issued a statement highlighting the disturbing report titled Climate Change Challenge for Small Islands in the Pacific. The report from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change detailed how the world's smallest islands, including those in the South Pacific, are already experiencing the effects of climate change.
The close are there, very close.
Oh, okay. The beach is near the tree now. Have you noticed any different with the trees or the other things that you grow? Are they being affected by the seawater coming in?
Kila Hawaii na lakau tai help
Malaka,
Yes.
emang mati now.
It kills the
Breadfruit tree.
Breadfruit.
Nowadays, before it used to be plenty.
But nowadays,
Nowadays,
but they are small now, but before it's a big breadfruit tree. But they die.
Is that after the big cyclones coming in?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is that because of the salty earth?
yeah, I think so.
Salt?
Into the salt.
Analysis of satellite and tide data shows a maximum rate of sea level rise in the central and eastern Pacific. It spreads north and south around the subtropical regions of the Pacific Island and peaks at over 3 millimetres a year. Of major concern to Tokelau is that the number of intense cyclones is likely to increase. Already those living on Tokelau's 3 atolls can confirm this as fact.
The seawall been damaged by the cyclone Percy, and because of the funding problem that stopped the equipment coming, that's why they stopped building the seawall. And then Cyclone Percy just come and wash everything out. The other side of the island, right through to the other side of the island.
How high were the waves?
Huh?
How high were the waves?
I think when it reaches the land, I think roughly around my height. And when it reaches the middle of the land, it's about 2 feet. And when it's collapsed from the lagoon and the ocean, collapsed in the middle of the land.
Where do you go when the waves go over the top?
Oh, we rush to where the high level house, and I used to stay there. When Cyclone Opha and Val washed away our home, and then we built another house on the back. But the land used to be, you can see where the new land is. It used to be there. Yeah. When time of cyclone, they just seal the taps and make sure that the downpipe from that collects the water from the roof, it has to be taken out.
Okay.
So they'll only use the water that is inside till maybe a month or 2 months later, after the cyclone. Every house, almost every house has a tank, or under the new construction building.
Regulation?
Yeah,
Any
building
wells?
regulation.
Are there any wells at all on the island?
Yeah, there's one, but not over here. There's one right, there's another island, there's a well there, and they're not using for drinking water.
Did they used to?
Used to be,
Yep.
but in the olden days, in the 80s,
And why not now?
it's not good anymore.
Okay. A New Zealand Met Service official said the IPCC report confirmed previous observations that the small islands are highly sensitive to climate change and sea level rise. Certainly on Tokelau, this is clearly evident. Scientists can now predict with certainty that climate change is likely to heavily impact on coral reefs, fisheries and other marine-based resources of small islands of the Pacific. And land plant crops are also affected.
So like if you want to grow taro, because people like taro here, the pulaka, that's what they call it. So they have to actually learn some skills on how to create the dirt that needs to be used for those kind of food crops. So composting is very important. So that kind of skill needs to really be enhanced. They're still not eating enough vegetables. There's definitely still not enough fruit on these islands. It's only poor, and the coconut, the inside of the coconut. But you don't see any mangoes. There's no avocados. There's no other stuff. So I think all these things can grow here, but it's just a matter of getting the people used to growing these things and eating them. It's not only the physical, hazards to do with natural disasters, but also the threat for on food security and issues like that. If there's changing climate with drought and stuff like that.
This is Nukunono St. Joseph Hospital with a population of slightly below 400 people here. And we have 12 beds capacity here. And apart from that, we have inpatient outpatient. We have a dental department, a theater, X-ray room. The type of patient we see here, normally in infective cases, we hardly have any infective, like diarrhea, respiratory cases, flu, secondary infection from flu. Otherwise, our main problem here, as I can see, in the whole of Tokelau is NCDs, non-communicable diseases, which is hypertension, diabetes. We have gout, which has been rising for the past 10 years. The change of disease is all due from lifestyle diseases.
So is the diabetes, for example, and the gout due to more Western food being consumed?
Yes, exactly. More different type of food. We're eating a lot of sugar, too much sugar here in Tokelau. Physical exercise. Our physical activity has become lesser and lesser, particularly in women, because of the way the type of work they do, domestic work and weaving. And other factors like smoking, alcohol and diet plays a big part.
Not only from the food security side, but from the health side, people need to eat more vegetables. So, yes.
Traditionally, people haven't grown very many vegetables.
No, they never do. I mean, today's lunch, if you saw it, was mainly composed of marine foods, and the only vegetable I saw on there were the fern. You know, that fern, the greeny sort of cabbage-like vegetable we had on there. They used to have a lot of what we used to call laupele, but now I hardly see that around either. And that was very rich in protein. But they've stopped growing it. I haven't seen it here for years. And I've been coming here for quite a number of years, over 10 years now. Every year I come.
I noticed quite a few of the men smoke. What's the best way of trying to minimise the effects?
Well, at the moment we have proposed, the Department of Health had proposed to the 3 Tokelau a policy whereby we try and fight against smoking. Like initially about no smoking in public places, proposal about raising the price of cigarettes, and more or less and health education in the public and school. Possibly that will be fighting against those things. Smoking and alcohol, they'll be done at the same time.
Is one of the ways to try and get the leaders themselves on the islands to actually give up smoking?
Yeah, exactly. I think just like any other health program, leadership commitment is very much required. You need role models for leaders to be committed, and that be, I think, would be a very effective way of promoting programs.
Do you smoke yourself?
Oh yeah, I smoke. You got me there.
When will you give up?
We're hoping that during campaign, most of us politicians and the top officials, government will give up smoking. But we need, there are two ways of getting: stopping smokers from smoking, and never to smoke. So we have to cease smoking program. We have to provide nicotine patches and things like counseling because of the withdrawal symptoms. It's difficult just to tell people to finish.
How do you see the near future in the next 5 years shaping?
We have to check the trend. This rise in with our referral scheme, we're referring a lot of cases which have complications of these NCDs, like heart cases, a complication of diabetes, like renal problem, as complication of these NCDs. So we really have to fight against this problem. Mortality rate, you mean?
Yeah.
Mortality, men and women slightly different. 60 for men and 62 for women. Yeah.
What do you know how old the oldest person on the island is?
Be 90s. Be 93. 93, 92.
And with the birth rate, what's the morbidity rate related to?
Morbidity rate. We have about 40 births in Tokelau. That's average birth per year, and slightly about the same death. That's number of deaths a year.
Okay, the population.
The population.
How many children out of the 40 would pass away?
Oh, below 1 year infant rate is 0. You know, we have our immunization program is one of the best in the world. We have a coverage rate of 98%, which is very high, the highest in the Pacific, and it could be one of the highest.
Adapting to climate change is a challenge for many small islands. Past studies have largely focused on adjustments to sea level rise and storm surges associated with tropical cyclones. The emphasis is on protecting land through hard shore protection, sea walls, rather than retreating from the sea. But more recent studies have identified major areas of adaptation, including water resources and watershed management, reef reconstruction, conservation, energy security, increased development of renewable energy, and optimised energy consumption. Conservation and keeping the islands clean is a major issue. Alternative electricity generation, such as solar power, is an exciting development.
At 415 volt 3 phase to the system, which is exactly the same as the power that is supplied by the diesel power. We still, at the moment, it's only 1.83 kilowatt that is consumed by those 13 houses. Yeah, and we still need to connect more houses to the system. There is enough power produced by one of the arrays to charge up the batteries. Right now, as I said, the capacity is 10 kilowatt, and we're only using less than 50%, which is about 1.8, 1.9 kilowatt. With the proposed plan that we are looking at, we will have to expand the system so that we can transmit power to the other island using our high voltage system. Right now we are still working together with UN, with UNDP APIA. We provide them with reports on the performance of the solar in Tokelau, and we are also working together with UNDP APIA to expand the solar power within the whole of Tokelau. We are looking at preparing the funding proposal. That will be the next step before we step into negotiation with the government of New Zealand and some other donors who can help to fund this project.
Plans are afoot to explore generating up to 10% of this atoll's power from biofuels and to dispose of diesel generation and its waste products once and for all.
It's an exciting program. We really want to put our energies behind the solar, try and make it come true and make Tokelau sort of like a prototype for the rest of the region, for small island states, isolated, and so that they won't be dependent on diesel, which is such a, the waste products from diesel power is quite amazing. I think the population is small, so the need for the power is likewise correlates to that. So it's not a very big amount of power we're needing. I'm just trying to compare to the Samoa CocoGen project, which they are also using coconut oil for the generator and for vehicles, and they're running out of coconut oil. So for a small country like this, if they want to use there's certainly a lot of coconut, but they're small coconuts. So you have to look at the variety of coconuts here, whether they're the right kind of coconut. I have a doubt whether they are. So I think there needs to be some more feasibility studies done on that to see whether that's a viable option.
Certainly the solar generation pilot program is a success. This home on Whakaofo Atoll is testament to that fact.
We were asking her if she knows the difference between whether they're using solar or diesel, but she said she can't tell the difference.
Here, at this home, there is power to burn.
Now
In Samoa, but for Tokelau, we haven't really looked at wind turbines at all. But, like for example, if there was a viable project, proposal for wind turbines, and they wanted to do an assessment, definitely that's what we are there for, is to help Tokelau to find possible donors and partners to do that.
But on Tokelau, daily life continues. Survival, self-sufficiency, independence. It is a way of life. As we reported at the outset of this report, for those inhabiting Tokelau, one of the most remote and beautiful islands of the Pacific, their want, their determination is to become a living, breathing example of climate change adaptation, rather than become a case study of catastrophe. This is a story of survival, of a special egalitarian culture, a sharing way of life. Theirs is a most unique story.
By Tuesday morning, re-emerge over the Gulf perhaps as a Category 5 hurricane. It is fairly enormous, and approaching landfall along northeastern Mexico sometime late Wednesday or Thursday morning. Again, Hurricane Dean, a formidable storm passing through the Caribbean just to the south of the island of Hispaniola. Seen from external cameras of the International Space Station from an altitude of 214 statute miles.